There are 5 things that smart women do on a regular basis that help them advance their lives to new timelines, new narratives, to literally evolve multiple steps ahead instead of at a snail's pace that we're sometimes told is the way that we should do things in life. This is by no means a comprehensive list of all of the things that smart women do in order to shift their lives. However, it is a very good starting point. The first thing that smart women do is that they don't hate on other women, because we realize that all of us are on a journey, and the women that we desire to be or that we're inspired by, we know that it is perfectly acceptable for us to ask advice from those women, or to see certain aspects of their life that we're inspired by that can create change in our lives. The reason why women who hate on other women feel a lack of a sense of control over their life. If you feel like you do not have the tools, the resources, the ability to change your life, then absolutely you're going to feel more out of control, or you're going to have a more scarcity mindset. You're going to feel like you need to take from other people in order for your life to be more abundant. But the reason why smart women, pretty women, aligned women, spiritually grounded women, why they're not hating on other women is because they do have an abundance mindset. And that abundance mindset is literally one they cultivated, created for themselves. So when you feel and know that you have the confidence to create change in your life, and you can see it showing up in your physical life, in your mindset, in the things that are happening around you, you don't feel the need. It doesn't even come into your mind to hate on other women. Another thing that women who hate on other women don't realize is that we are not bothered by you. We are not interested in the fact that you have finally shifted life narratives in your own life, because that's what we want to see for you. We find it funny that you're copying everything that we're doing, but it's never from a place of you don't deserve that too. It's from a place of you finally worked out that you deserve it too, that you can shift your life too. Because these smart women have an abundance mindset, you also realize that there is never any lack. So if you lose something, it's because it's not in alignment with you. You realize that the things that are meant for you are always going to stay, and they're always going to be better than the last thing that you had. In my own life, when things didn't work out for me, or I was in a state of transition, I understood what I was leaving was not meant to carry with me into the future. Whether that was people, careers, places, things, it didn't matter. Mindsets, the way that I talked to myself, the way that I allowed other people to speak to me, all of that I knew was evolving into something better. And this included my physical state. So I remember the apartments that I stayed in always got better. There was one day where I just sat down and I realized that every single place that God led me to was better than the last place that I had, including the house that I bought for myself when I was in my 20s. It was far better than any other place I had stayed at when I was younger. And then when I met my husband, our houses got better every single time. Smart women are the kind of women that focus on the positives of things. That doesn't mean that the negatives don't come in, we don't think about them, they're not on our minds sometimes, but our mindset and the approach that we have towards these problems in our lives is very different. That's what helps us to be successful. The second thing that smart women do is focus or prioritize personal development. You never want to be going through life stagnant or not trying to evolve. And I say this in every single video, but I'm trying to emphasize the point that as I started to elevate and move to new levels, the people in my life who wanted to keep me stuck, stagnant, would criticize me for changing, right? Criticize me for not being the same person that they remember me as. But when I thought about, and you should too, when you think about the role that you played in those old narratives, or the role that those people played, were you benefiting from those interactions, or were you always being mistreated, misused? The friend who put up with things, the girlfriend who didn't stand up for yourself, who were you in those roles? That you were the coworker that everybody could rely on to take up the other shifts, or grab everybody's lunches, whatever it was that you were in that narrative, were those people benefiting from your lack of confidence, your lack of boundaries? And if those people are those individuals, they are never going to allow you to just pack up and go into the next reality where you are more confident or more aligned. The purpose of life is not to be stagnant. It's not to stay the same and never change, never have an epiphany on who you should be, who you desire to be. So if you have people in your life who are trying to tell you that you're changing and it's not okay, those are not people you want to be around. And again, this is not gender specific, because this could be your mother, this could be your brother, this could be a partner, this could be a best friend, this could be a coworker, this could be a boss. It doesn't matter who it is. The point is that there are people who remember old versions of you, and they benefited from those old versions of you. And smart women who have evolved and moved into the next phase of their life, we realize that it is our right to want to change and grow and get the most out of life. And personal development is one of those things that really does help you advance to the next level. And that is having a mentor, reading books on what successful people do, shifting your mindset towards more positive things, recognizing areas in your life where you might be lacking and not judging yourself for that lack. Smart women are the kind of women who do not feel afraid to ask questions. They do not feel dumb when they don't know something. We realize that the way to advance is to ask questions, to have an open mindset, to have people around us who are going to help us advance to the next level. Which brings me to my next point, is that smart women have hobbies and goals. Being the kind of person or that friend that doesn't ever have anything that they're working towards, it's not a good look. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat it. When you think about it for yourself, these are small things too. Hobbies and goals do not mean that you're trying to, climb Mount Everest, okay? Or you wanna be America's Next Top Model. They don't even have to be big goals. You could be the kind of person who likes to sew. You could like to cook, try new recipes. You could have a goal of losing some weight or, learning a new skill. Women who do not have goals, they do not have hobbies, they do not strive for anything, they don't care about anything, including themselves, personal development, the way they put themselves together. Those are scary people to be around, okay? And a lot of us, what people don't realize is that smart women who have navigated life in a more successful, intentional way, a lot of times we were people who didn't have good examples growing up. And something that I always found goes back to my first point of we don't hate on other women, because there were a lot of women who were uncomfortable with the way that I looked, and they were very disrespectful, very unkind, and they had this idea of what a pretty or attractive, smart person was like. And the amount of times that women tried to make me feel like I was dumb or I wasn't good enough, or I have to be someone who has a bad attitude because of the way that I look, or because I am the color that I am, that somehow I'm not going to be better than them because they're lighter than me or they're a different race. That kind of mindset is pathetic. I'm not going to lie to you. It is pathetic. When you run across women who are like this, that is such trash behavior. I cannot stand mean girl energy. I don't think it's cute. It's not funny. And when you find women who want to put pretty women down, they want to act like women who are pretty have weird personalities, or they're mean to other women because they think no, we don't. A lot of pretty women, attractive women, were that awkward girl growing up. They were that one that was left out. They were the one who is different, a little strange. And I am neurodivergent, and I know a lot of neurodivergent women who are very beautiful. But we don't go around thinking that we're the most pretty person in the world. We also have a very different definition of what beautiful is, what smart is, what aligned is. And for me, I love the insides of people. I sound weird. That sounded weird. I like what's inside, what makes up a person, their personality, the way that I feel around them, the way that their energy and my energy vibes. That's something that to me is very important. So if you're going around judging other women because they're pretty, because you're insecure, because you didn't put yourself together today, recognize that that's something that's within your control. If you want to feel beautiful, you can. That is within your control. And when you see women who have shifted in their life, recognize that you don't know their journey. You don't know what has brought them to that point to where they feel comfortable showing up as themselves. And I said it in my last video, I owe it to my past versions of myself to be who I am today. I owe it to her because I know what she had to go through in order to be here. I know the internal struggle, glow up, the things she had to release so that she didn't become bitter. I know what she had to go through. And I'm not ever going to let another woman who is trying to navigate life, but instead of doing it from the driver's seat, is literally not even in the car. She's out at the damn parking lot. And she wants to complain about other women who are getting in their car and driving to where they want to be. I think it is so inspiring when other women at any point in their life decide that they're ready to shift. And you have to be the kind of person that says, not only am I ready, but I'm not going to let somebody who is not willing to stand up for themselves in their life and be who they want to because they're uncomfortable or insecure or thinking that maybe somebody's going to say something. We know not to let women like that disrupt our flow. So when we have hobbies and goals, we have things that we're working towards all the time. And these can be small things. Like you can have a goal of wanting to change your morning routine, to be more intentional about the way that you clean your house, to be more intentional about the time that you take to put, your kitchen, your bedroom, your bathroom, your spaces together. And those are small goals, but they do matter. A lot of women are very insecure and out of alignment because of their own mothers. Whether their mothers were insecure and they didn't teach them certain things, they competed with their daughters. Like that is a very real thing. And if you have a mother like that and you're not aware of it yet, I would take the time to really itemize your relationship with your mother or the women in your life and work out the unhealthy connections, thoughts, behaviors, the way that you guys speak to each other. If that is present in every relationship you have or only with your mother, what kind of friends do you seek out? What kind of relationships do you seek out? Because that's another thing, the psychology behind why we choose the people that we do. It's going to stem from our childhood, from our family units. Why? Because that was considered normal. So you're either A, going to go out and find someone exactly like your toxic parent, or you're going to say to yourself, I deserve better and I don't want anything to do with anybody who reminds me of that. When we're not conscious, we're going to go out and pick people who look exactly like our toxic parent. The other thing is that we get confused and we'll think this is like a societal programming that women have issues with their fathers. So there's like daddy issues, but a lot of women actually have problems with their mothers, whether that was a mom who really was present, right? If you grew up in a single parent household and your mother was the person who was left with you, sometimes we can feel like we have issues because our fathers weren't around. But a lot of times it's the mother was around and she stayed, but she projected a lot of her insecurities onto us. She was emotionally wrapped up in our life so much that we felt like we were her partner. We felt like we had to give her more of ourselves than our siblings. If you're the kind of person that did have other siblings and it was a boy compared to you, is your mom different with you than she is with your brother? Is that the kind of like putting him on a pedestal and you're the one who has the burden, the brunt of the crap that she didn't deal with in her life? That's going to create very toxic interactions with your mother that you then take out into the world. If you have not addressed those things, you're going to think that it is you. You're going to think that you're the problem and the reason why your life looks the way that it does is because you. Now, I'm not saying that we don't take responsibility, because you definitely need to. And when you're trying to shift in your life, you need to take responsibility. We're not saying that the things that happen to us should have happened and it's okay. We're saying that in the space that we can control, we're going to change the things that we can. Whether that's our mindset, that's the way that we show up for ourselves, that's the way that we talk to people, that's the way we let people talk to us. We want to get very clear on why we think the way that we do and why we want to change. And smart women are the kind of women that recognize that every relationship needs to be itemized and checked for toxic behavior, toxic thinking, toxic interactions, and we think about the way that we feel around people. So when you have people who come up to you and they think because you're pretty or because your life is a certain way that somehow you're the kind of person who thinks like this or does this, recognize that a lot of these people are carrying their mother's traumas. They're carrying their mom's heaviness and they haven't let it go. And if you're the kind of woman who feels like this relates to you, you understand, and you're trying to shift out of that mindset, I'm not going to say it's as simple as letting it go, but it definitely is more simple than we think. And this is why it goes back to like personal development and not hating on other women and recognizing that it is an abundance mindset, because you want to get help, okay? You want to get therapy if you need to. And if you can't afford therapy, it's just, sometimes it's all you can afford is like books on shifting your mindset, watching different videos, whatever it is. But you definitely want to make sure that you prioritize these situations in your life that are not healthy. Which leads into my next point, which is that smart women prioritize mental, physical, spiritual health, right? You want to make sure that you're in alignment with your goals, you're in alignment with the things that you desire for yourself. You want your life to reflect that constant re-engagement with you. I have children. I'm a mom and I'm a wife, and I love my family. I love my kids. I love my husband. I love the life that we have created together. That does not mean I am not my own person or I should not be a priority in my life. And I'm not going to say that, yes, society does push a narrative that women should sacrifice everything they have the moment they have kids or the moment that they're married. When you really think about it, that's not even necessarily something that happens in our everyday life, right? You're not going to the grocery store, buying yourself something, and then the cashier is saying you shouldn't have that because women shouldn't X, Y, and Z. A lot of times that's on social media or that's in spaces where it's trendy or attractive to say that because they have a different goal in mind. They have a different agenda in mind. So wherever you learn this idea that you shouldn't prioritize these things about yourself, you want to unpack that so you can leave it where it came from. Smart women know that your physical health is just as important as your spiritual health and your mental health. Mental health is not a game, okay? And a lot of times the things that we are experiencing, yes, they come from real situations. They also come from, what we eat, the fact that we're not moving our body that much, or the fact that we are not prioritizing a connection with something bigger than ourselves. Again, for me, that's God, but for you, it could be something different, something else that you call it. Regardless, you need to prioritize putting yourself into alignment with things that are nurturing and feeding every part of your existence. You are not just a human. You are more than that. You are a spirit and you do have a mind. And that consciousness, that ability to connect, create, that needs to be nurtured. And if you're thinking to yourself that all you need to do is wake up, go to work, buy food, go to sleep, that's not going to give you a fulfilling life. The last thing is that smart women learn, adapt, and evolve from their experiences. We are better, not bitter. Now, that does not mean that we do not have emotions, that we do not get angry, that we do not feel like we haven't had negative things happen to us. That's not what I'm saying. Women who are truly navigating life in a successful way, and you might have an idea of what that looks like, right? That could be women who have certain things in their life, who have achieved certain goals, who walk with a certain sense of purpose or confidence. All of those women that you admire, especially women who almost like you feel like they have stretched past old versions of themselves, they have a story that you don't know anything about. And when you think to yourself, they've never had, a man lie to them, cheat on them. They've never had a woman who hates on them. They've never failed a test. They've never lied. They've never, experienced negative things, made mistakes. That's not how life works. They are still human. We are still human. We still make mistakes. We still do things that we later on we're like, oh my gosh, why did I say it like that? The difference though is that we're not sitting in regret. We are recognizing what part of ourself was triggered by that moment. What made us feel like we needed to show up this way or we shouldn't show up that way. We're constantly evaluating ourselves in order to become the version of us that we desire to be. Women who have alignment in their life are focusing on a version of themselves too that they want to be. And if you think to yourself, you desire to be someone different, but you feel like that version of yourself is so far removed from who you are currently that it's impossible, you're going to make it impossible because you're going to feel like I messed up, I chose the wrong partner, I didn't go to school, or I got this job and this sucks, or I made this mistake. That energy is, instead of being focused on changing your life and moving into higher spaces, you're going to just be stuck. You're going to be stuck every time you wake up and you think to yourself, okay, today is the day I'm going to go for a walk. Today is the day I'm going to eat differently. Today is the day that I'm going to take, care of myself. And that thought of, yeah, but remember when you did this? Remember when you said that? Remember what that person said? That's going to sit in your mind and literally stop you. When we struggle with understanding that energy is currency, or that there is an energy that moves through our lives, through us, that helps us or hinders us, think about when you feel depressed. Think about when you feel anxiety, sadness, fear. Do you feel like jumping up and running a 5K? No. Do you feel like today is the day that you're going to have some carrots and salad instead of pizza? No, you're feeling heavy. You're feeling weighed down. You're feeling sad. You're feeling like there is no hope. There is no purpose, right? And when we sit in that energy, instead of recognizing that we have the ability to change our life, the ability to shift our energy and literally change our entire life situation, to look around and not be in the same place, to not be around the same people, we're giving up our autonomy and our ability to navigate life more intentionally and more purposefully. The other thing, going back to the fact that I am a mother, and I do recognize that a lot of women are the way that they are because they've had terrible relationships with their mothers. I pour into my children and do the work on myself in order to make sure that I am not unintentionally, unconsciously carrying on or creating generational cycles, patterns that will cripple my children in the future. And smart women do that. We recognize that our children deserve better from us and better in their life. And if we're the kind of people who are ready to stop things that are happening in our lineage so that they have a better future, we take the time to be courageous enough to do that for them. And when I say mothers, I'm also talking about stepmothers. I'm talking about aunts, cousins, any woman figure in your life who had played a mother role or had a major impact on the way that you saw yourself. These are women who can literally cripple your confidence and your ability to move into the future. I've had plenty of women in my life who tried to literally shame me out of authentically being myself. And those same women do not have lives that I desire to have. And the ones that, I've said this before, the ones who spoke the loudest, who judged me the most, were in the bush taking notes. And those are the same women who are now trying to get a fraction of what I have. But again, when you're not in alignment, you may get the child, the husband, the house. You may get the things that you think that other woman has and you want too. But if you're not in alignment, you're not going to feel satisfied. You're not going to feel happy. You're always going to feel like there's someone who has something more than you, and you have to take it from them. And my bonus one is for my women who desire to be in a relationship. If you're comfortable learning, navigating, growing through being single and you're fine with that, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to women who genuinely want love and they're ready for it. You may not be in a space where you're ready for it, and that's fine. But my bonus one of what smart women do in terms of relationships is they allow themselves to receive love. They are comfortable with being cared for and treated with love and respect, mutual love and respect. They allow themselves to be catered to, even those of us who are very independent, okay? There is nothing wrong with being an independent woman who loves her own things, has her own mind, does her own things, but allows themselves to be treated good by the men in their life. We are not repelling good men. We are not shaming good men. We are not trying to get rid of them. We allow ourselves to be loved by them. So if you're the kind of woman who is ready for love, you're ready to be, you're in that space energetically where you want that for yourself, it is possible, it is acceptable, it is okay for you to have that.